How is the liability balance calculated? The initial calculation is the same for both the operating and finance lease. It's the net present value of all lease payments, including options that you are reasonably certain to exercise. The discount rate you use to determine the net present value is your incremental borrowing rate. A guideline for how you might determine that borrowing rate is this. If you had to borrow funds on a secured basis for the same duration of the lease, what interest rate would you pay? Also, any future allowances or incentives to be received, including any excess allowances applied against rent, are incorporated into the net present value calculation for the beginning balance. Here's the calculation for the lease example we've been discussing. You can see that years 1 and 2 are blank. The reason being that we started this lease in 2017 and the new rules don't go into effect until 2019 for public companies and 2020 for private companies. We're pretending that we're a public company in this, so in year 3, which is 2019, the lease is recorded on the balance sheet. The remaining 5 years show the annual amounts for net rents. Net rents don't include items that are deemed expenses. I've assigned an incremental borrowing rate of 5% and run the net present value. The total is shown here, $14,941,472. Now that we've calculated the beginning balance of our lease liability, let's refer back to our summary financial statement. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see the number we just calculated right here. This is the operating lease example. Now let's look at the finance lease example. And it's the same thing. The liability balance shown here is the same number because the calculation is done in the same way.